everybody. Welcome to the Hallmarkies podcast and Merry Christmas, everybody. We're really excited today. We have with us Hallmark actress Lillian Doucet-Roche. And thank you so much, Lillian, for coming on the podcast.
Oh my gosh, thank you for having me. I'm such a fan of this podcast and of you girls. So it's so nice to be here. Thank you for having me.
Well, it's so funny because you were just barely on a Hallmark movie where it was all about podcasters.
Yes, you're right.
Mystery Lane.
The Mystery Lane. Yes, you're right.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that was my first kind of almost interaction with podcasting.
It was really funny. So I was watching. I was like, this is what Hallmark thinks podcasting is.
Yeah. I have heard podcasting is like I really respect people who are doing it and doing it as well as you guys are, because it's like, I've heard it's a beast of a thing too.
It is a hustle.
Yeah, hustle.
I mean, that's why they say that that the average podcast only lasts 6 episodes because people don't realize like how much work it really is.
How much work it really is. And to do the social media and the clips, and it's like you've got so many different things, so many different components. So really respect the heck out of you. Yeah.
Oh, thanks. Well, we're excited to talk with you. And we'd like to, since this is your first time on the podcast, we'd like to get a chance to get to know you and find out what inspired you to get into acting.
Oh, great question. Well, I credit to my older sister. I was at an age, I was very young. So, whatever she wanted to do, I was kind of following in her footsteps. If she'd said, I want to dig worms in the dirt, I might be in a very different place. But thankfully, she said, I want to be an actor. So she started taking acting classes, and then I joined in. I think I was in the same acting classes as her. And so that was my kind of intro. And then I had a few early experiences on stage where it really felt like I was exactly where I was meant to be, doing exactly what I was supposed to be doing, which is a very unique feeling. Like I've never experienced that in any other way. And then my first moment where I sort of decided, ooh, I think I want to really pursue this was I was a small role in a play that I don't even remember what the name was, but I was a funny role, and I just remember having so much fun. And a little girl, her mom and her came up to me afterwards, and this little girl looked up at me and she was just like glowing, and she just said, I thought you were really good. I could just tell she had a really great time, and I just thought, I had a really great time and you had a really great time, so what a great experience. And then I thought, okay, maybe this is worth looking into, because I think this is pretty surreal and very like a unique field. So then I kind of pursued it, and I was off doing theater and musical theater, and I've studied a whole bunch, and then I got into film out here in Vancouver, and I've just been in film ever since, and I never really looked back.
It's interesting. Like so often in life, we like don't take the time to like tell somebody when they've done something that we've liked. We don't take that like second. It's easier actually to kind of complain about the things that are annoying you or that you don't like, but to actually take the time to put in a positive review, it's way harder.
It is. I think, and I wonder if social media has impacted that. Like, I do think it's become a bit of a skill that people have, taken on to sort of, to kind of negative, hate, like haters and all that kind of stuff. So but obviously, that little girl, I wish I got her name, made a huge difference really in my life. Yeah.
That's adorable. So I saw in your bio that you've done some musical theater, and I am also a theater critic, and I love.
Yes, and you love musical theater, right?
I love musical theater. And so I had to ask, like, what's some of the shows that you've done?
Okay, so, oh gosh, I don't think I've done any, like, I don't think I've ever, obviously Wicked is a hot topic. Wicked was one that I saw, that was my first experience watching a musical, and I was like, this is unreal, and I can't do that. Like, it was unreal. But the musicals I've been in, honestly, okay, so I think one of the bigger productions I was in is a musical that I don't know if you would know. It's called Honk. And it was the musical about the ugly duckling. And
I've heard of it. I've never seen it. I have heard of it.
Heard of it. Okay, amazing. Heard of it. Okay, you're a pro. But I was the mom in that. So my little duckling, disappeared, and I was heartbroken. Oh my gosh. I don't know. It's been a while since I've been in my musical theater days. I've kind of put away my tapping shoes, and I did Grease. I was Sandy.
Okay. Oh, you're Sandy?
I was Sandy. They were generous with me there. I don't know. I had the singing capabilities. They were lovely. Yeah, so I've done a few. I've maybe done like a handful of them, but I pretty quickly realized that singing was something that other people really like, they're just sparkling. And I was like, oh, this isn't where it's not my strong suit. My dad is
Yeah.
an incredible singer. So I do sing by association, like when I go home, but it was never something I was really drawn to, but I love watching musicals.
Yeah.
I love listening to musicals, like musical theater. I really respect it.
Yeah. I'm like a decent singer, not like amazing, but like a decent singer. It's the dancing that it's super bad.
I know.
Super bad. And so, yeah, I'm more of a musical theater appreciator than
There you go. There you go. Okay, so I haven't seen it yet. I told my sister I would wait.
Wicked?
Wicked. Have you seen it?
Yeah, I've seen it twice.
Oh, you have?
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah.
It's really good.
And it's part one.
Yeah, it's part one.
Two.
I still don't think they needed to make it two parts, but they do a pretty good job bringing it all together, making it feel like a full story. You don't feel like there's like not much of a cliffhanger. They do a pretty good job with it, like ending on Defying Gravity is such like a satisfying moment. And
that's where they ended.
Yeah, that's where they ended, which is where they end the I mean, it is extremely faithful to the musical. Yeah, I mean, even the track list, the song list is exactly the same.
Oh, amazing.
As
that is actually impressive. You're right.
Yeah, which is interesting. And then like the second act, like I just don't know how they're gonna make a whole nother movie after that act 2, because there's really only 3 memorable songs. I would say in act 2 of Wicked. It's a very act 1 heavy show.
Yeah,
and the rest is like reprises or like somewhat forgettable numbers. And so I'm just like, how are they gonna do that?
Well, they'll probably really dig deep in the Fiyero time, story where he gets, taken,
I think
all that.
I think that they're gonna have to also kind of do the bridge to Wizard of Oz a little bit more, kind of dive into that a little bit more and kind of stuff. But it was very impressive. I think this year has been a very weak year as far as mainstream blockbuster releases. There've been a lot that have disappointed me, but for me, Wicked is definitely one of the best.
So can I ask, so what is your favorite musical? Is like on all the musicals?
On the stage?
On the stage, yeah.
On the stage, my favorite is Les Mis.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was the first. It was really that and The Little Mermaid were like the first music I ever really loved. Little Mermaid when I was a little girl, and then Les Mis when I was in high school, and I was obsessed.
It's like the experience we have around these things, like the age we're at, and like who we go see it with, and what we ate before. Like it's a whole experience. I know.
Yeah,
it makes it.
But an underrated one that I really do love and adore is this little musical called Bright Star. It was actually, believe it or not, was written by Edie Brickell and Steve Martin.
Oh,
but it's not a comedy. It's a bluesgrass kind of folk story, and it's beautiful and romantic and tragic, and even has a funny part. It's just like a great show. I love the songs.
Is Steve Martin in it?
No, he's not. Okay. He's not in it. He just wrote it because he's actually a bluesgrass musician. Plays the banjo and other things.
I knew he played the banjo, but I didn't know. Oh, fancy.
Kind of comes from that side. And anyway, it's definitely, I think, the most underrated Broadway musical.
And it's called
Bright Star.
Bright Star.
If you ever get a chance to see it, I really do love it. It's so good.
Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm gonna look into it. Oh, thank you. Yeah. The hot rec.
Ho, ho, ho. We'd like to take a second and thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast. It's the Hallmarkies Patreon.
Do you love Hallmarkies podcast, especially at Christmas?
Do you enjoy the holiday previews, recaps, interviews, and bonus episodes?
If the answer is yes, please consider supporting the Hallmarkies Patreon. We need your help to do what we do both during the Christmas season and all year round.
But not only do you help a podcast led by strong, independent women by becoming a Patreon, you get to become a part of the Hallmarkies family.
Starting at only $2 a month as a patron, you will have access to our Facebook Patreon group where we talk about the movies, shows, and more all year.
We also have many monthly patron watch-alongs with guests like Lacey Chabert, Natalie Hall, Paul Campbell, Mary Lou Henner, and more, giving their behind-the-scenes details of their films.
As a patron, you also have the chance to provide input into the podcast and even join us at different tiers.
So this Christmas season, spread some cheer to the Hallmarkies Patreon and become a member today. You won't regret it.
Go to patreon.com/Hallmarkies to learn more.
That's patreon.com/Hallmarkies.
Do you remember the first time that you were ever on camera?
The first time I was ever on camera, technically, I was in high school, and there was a film production company that was, making sort of like awareness films for like teenagers. So it was like, I think they were doing one on like substance abuse and one on like teen pregnancies.
Oh, like PSAs?
Kind of? Yeah, kind of those. And they went to my, I was in a theater high school. So they went to my theater teacher and they said, do you have any students that you would, put forward for this? And thankfully, thank you, Mr. Griffin, Paul Griffin, you put my name forward. And so that was my first kind of experience with, but it was like a very small set, very small crew. So my first time ever on camera in the like big sense of the word, with the lighting and the microphone was my first like thing that I did when I graduated theater school, which was The Flash. And I had one day on that, and it was just like right in the deep end. But again, it was a little bit intimidating, but I really felt like I was exactly where I was meant to be doing exactly, so that's a grounding feeling for me.
Yeah.
So, but that was my first real experience. So I was an adult when I really got my first film experience.
So you weren't too green. You weren't too.
I mean, I was fresh. I like to say, I was fresh to the scene and very ambitious. But not too green in the sense that I've been acting my whole life, and I'd like watched tons of videos beforehand of like what to expect when you go to set, like just on like YouTube. So
yeah, I
kind of had an idea of what to expect, but in terms of there was a lot I was learning in the moment, but I was so stoked to be there. So it was a great experience.
So you have had the chance to play basically the evil stepsister twice. In the Cinderella story movie. It was so funny because we did a whole episode on the Cinderella story movies.
Yes,
because it was like it was the anniversary of the first one this
like
year.
20 years or something, right?
Yeah. And so we did an episode on it. Me and my friend, me too. And we're watching. We're like, this is the same actress played in all these movies.
What's funny? Like, thank you for well, not thank you, but I think it's great that you recognize it. A lot of people, thankfully, don't recognize it because it was a bit of a, can we do this? Like, can I be in both of them? There was a big, discussion with it with Warner Brothers.
Oh, there was? Really?
Yeah, just as, it was two different families and it wasn't a continuation. And so they, it was the same director and writer who did the initial one that I did, the Christmas Wish one. It was the same director and writer who did that one, the Cinderella story.
Well, I wondered about that one because it was barely Cinderella, that one. And so I wondered if that one was a different script that was then, do you know?
I wonder. It was, I don't think, no, I think it was
almost
initially
more, it was more like Twelfth Night than it was Cinderella.
Yeah, like Twelfth Night, She's the Man, those type of vibes. But I think it was always meant to be Cinderella in the sense of it was, she had like the talking to the animals and the like her dad passed away and left the house and her basically to this quote evil stepmother and the two siblings. So there were like nods to Cinderella, but they definitely kind of made their own. Her like Michelle, who's the writer and director, who I love for obvious reasons. I just love her. They definitely made it their own and they got creative with it. I mean, but I think that was like the sixth film in the franchise. At that point, you really do have to kind of, make it.
It's got to be fun though to play a deliciously villainous character like that though.
It is. It's my favorite. I think it's my favorite thing to play, especially when they're funny. Like, especially like that blonde. So like the reason I'm blonde, I went blonde for that film because it was their hopes that maybe people wouldn't notice that it was the same gal. But to be, I don't know. I just feel like she was always that girl Saffron. She was like always just 3 steps behind. So she's like mean, but just she came from a place of just really not really knowing what's going on. So that's why she was mean, which I just find so fun to play.
I don't think most people would notice because most people aren't like marathoning the Cinderella story movies like we had to do for the podcast.
Yeah. I do remember there was moments where we were doing some interviews on set and they were asking me about it and they were like, oh, this is so exciting. This is the first time it's ever happened. But I really encouraged, like, I didn't want to make it a moment because it was Bailey Madison who plays, I was like, it's her story. And like, that's where the focus should be going. It shouldn't be on that. I just felt like, like this just isn't where the energy should be going, that it's the same. So I really did. I was like, let's just slide in and I'm going to slide out and we'll just have the focus be where the focus is like meant to be. So I'm glad that people, didn't notice. And when I get recognized, like I do get recognized for those Cinderella movies, I'll get recognized for one or the other. Like they don't, people aren't like, oh, they don't know that. So I'm grateful that I was able to.
Well, I mean, we agreed that that franchise is a lot better than it has any right to be. Given that most of them are direct, you know what I'm saying? Like,
I do. Actually, I do.
Direct to DVD, direct to video, whatever films for the most part, and yet, and especially the evil stepmothers that they were able to get for for some of them to get Jennifer Tilly to get Jane Lynch.
Oh, they've had, I know those. I mean, and we all, I don't know about you, but the one with Hilary Duff and even the one with Selena Gomez and like
Jennifer Coolidge.
Oh my gosh, it's iconic. Like that Kiss in the Rain, with Hilary Duff and oh my gosh, what's
Chad Michael Murray.
Like that. We grew up like with that moment where, thinking, oh, this is what real life is. Like it just was, which of course, spoiler alert, it's not. If you're a Kiss in the Rain, it's like,
but it's so funny.
But those movies.
Yeah.
So it's a privilege to be a part of two of the six. Were there six of them?
I think there's 5 or 6. Yeah.
6. There's a handful. Yeah.
So you've been in a bunch of these Hallmark movies now. What's it like being in the ensemble for one of these movies?
I mean, honest to goodness, it's basically exactly what you would think. Like the movies come out and they're just full of love and like laughter and light. And that's what the filming process is. Like it is, you meet the best people on these Hallmark films and the sets are always gorgeous. They do such a great job, the set deck team, of making them like just sparkle. Like it really is. It's just warm. I just love working on Hallmark. So people and the directors are always so great. And I don't know, it's like the most recent one I did, Confessions of a Christmas Letter. I got to go to work and just get paid to fall in love every day. I was like, this is amazing. Like, I'm so grateful.
It must be incredible to see this like winter wonderlands with lights and everything all appear overnight. That must be incredible.
Overnight. They do it out of, and sometimes you'll film in one location and you'll go back the next day and it, the attention to detail. It's really a skill that I'm just, it's amazing to just gawk at what they're able to do, and not a lot of time with. It's definitely a skill transforming these homes and these outdoor spaces and these gymnasiums or whatever you have it. It's amazing to be a small part of it because obviously film is a huge production. Needless to say.
I've heard that it's kind of has a feeling of like summer camp. When you
I can see that. Yeah, summer camp with great food and great people and except almost better because you don't find yourself being like, oh my gosh, what do I say? Like you tell you what to say.
And you're getting paid, so
paid rather than picking them. Yes, that's so cute. Summer camp, I love
that. Yeah. So you were in Xmas. What was your role in that? I don't remember.
Oh, I was so Claire. You know how she kind of creates like a fake family?
Yeah, fake family.
Fake family. I was the news woman, like in social media, who, like the reason Claire had to keep up this ruse is because I go to her hometown and I'm like, oh my gosh, you're so amazing. You have this beautiful life. Tell us all about it. So myself and my husband are the two who come in, who are basically the reason that she has to keep up this ruse of a perfect life. And the whole kind of thing with that movie that was so great was you later find out that my character and her husband, like they're really putting it on too, as much as Claire is. And then at the end, you kind of realize, oh, we don't have to put this on. We can just be who we are. And
I mean, that one was pretty edgy for Hallmark, taking on like influencer culture and the characters kind of lying and things like that that you don't necessarily always see. But I appreciated it.
Yeah, you're right. Oh yeah, you really think about, yeah, you're right. It was a little spicy for Hallmark. You're right.
Yeah. How do you like now, since the pandemic, having to do like self-tapes and stuff like that?
I mean, I think it's like anything. There's pros and cons to like self-tapes versus in the room. I don't mind it, but I don't love it. There's like the good things about it is that you can choose your reader. So yeah, so you can choose your take, yes. But you can choose although actually choosing your take, that's one of the things I don't love, because I'm like, this is not I'm not good at this part of it. Like I, do the thing and then I leave, versus doing the thing and then having to like watch and decide which one is the best for what they need. And you're not 100% confident what they need. Like that's a little bit, that's one of the more challenging ones. But I do like getting to choose my readers. So if I get to have, if it's like a romantic scene or, a sister scene or a father-daughter scene, like I can have a person that is adjacent to that. And I find that really great. It's a little more comfortable. Like sometimes I can just, if it's a really busy week, I can do it from my trailer, or I can do it from home. Like I don't have to drive an hour to Burnaby, and be at a specific time. So it definitely opens up the possibility to make it work. And then, another good thing is I think a lot of actors who maybe wouldn't be seen for certain roles, they have the opportunity to be seen, which I think is important. So yeah, so I think it definitely has its pros, and I'm just going to lean into that as long as we do it. Yeah.
So spoiler alert to the listeners, but for Murder in Mystery Lane, for that movie, you were the murderer.
Wait, no, I wasn't. They thought I was, but then it ended up being Katie, wasn't it? Katie. So Katie, who was, wait, am I allowed?
No, you murdered the, oh, am I getting you? I was thinking that you were the one who murdered the podcaster. It's been a couple months since I saw it. And then the podcaster was the one who was, that you were jealous of her.
Okay, yes. So you're right in the sense that was a storyline for a little while, and then at the last minute they discovered it was somebody else. So they did think I murdered the podcaster, and I was in real life. You're not in real life, but in real storyline, I was jealous, which is why they thought I did. And then at the last minute they realized that it was. Are we allowed to say?
Yeah. We give
that it was
warning.
Matt Hammer, I forget what his officer, good air quotes or whatever. His girlfriend.
Oh, that's right. You're right.
Yeah, so she was the last, reveal of like, oh, it was her who did it.
Yeah, Matt Hamilton, he was so good in that movie.
He's so great.
That when he's doing all the interviews and he's just like, it's like they were speaking another language.
Oh my gosh. And that was such a fun day on set, because we all got to play such exaggerated characters, right? Like we were all just so quirky. And so there's Matt Hamilton, who's the straight man, and then just like a bunch of goofballs, running in and out. Oh my gosh, that was a really fun day. That was a really, really fun day. And they had Peter Benson had a fun cameo, so that was because he's friends with all of them. So that was so fun to watch. Oh my God.
Yeah, that was really fun.
We'd like to take a second and thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast. It's author Stacey Agdern and her new book, The Dreidel Disaster. From the author of The Dating Contract comes a Hanukkah story filled with hijinks, love, and problem solving. Mayor Olivia Nachman is ambitious and excited to be elected to the county legislature and better serve the community. Artur Rabnovich knows how to spin a story and fix almost any PR problem, but his skills are put to the test when he's hired to help untangle the mess that's been made in the village of Briarwood. This creates a new problem, balancing his attraction to the mayor he needs to work with and the need to impress his new boss. Will Liv and Arthur learn to compromise and mix business with pleasure without jeopardizing the project or their careers before the dreidel spins its last? The Dreidel Disaster is the third book in Stacey Agdern's Last Girl Standing series and is available wherever books are sold. For more information about Stacey, go to her website, staceyagdern.com. That's staceyagdern.com.
Paige and Mr. Darcy, your character had a lot of personality in that movie. Like, what was that like for that character?
I mean, yeah, God love Mia. She was
very drama
heavy. Which in some ways is very, almost therapeutic to just get to just go big, like just really ham it up. It was really fun. And then that said, at the end of the day, I was like empty. Like I was like, I don't have anything else. I'm an empty vessel because I gave it all to Mia. In real life, I would say I'm more Mallory in terms of the like practicality, like who, just in terms of, this happens and you feel the emotions and then you move on. Like that's definitely who I am in real life, I think. But I don't know. It was great. And I've also, I hope I'm remembering this correctly, but I think I've never been proposed to in a film before. So that was my first kind of like, and that was so fun. Like that was my real reaction. Like that wasn't acting at all. I was actually just so stoked to get to be proposed to. So in that way, it was so I loved. And I also filmed that in Ottawa, which is my hometown. So on my days off, I got to visit, just the neighborhoods I grew up in, and so it was a great experience for a whole bunch of reasons. And then I met Galen, who was the executive producer on that one, who's now a good friend. She's just so lovely. I met it was a great experience. Cool. But yeah, Mia was a handful. Yeah.
Well, for a reason for the season, you're playing the young version of Taylor's mom, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And was that the first time you've ever played where you are pregnant and have a baby?
Oh no, wait, hold on. No, so actually, so funny you say that. I initially auditioned for her, but I didn't end up playing her. I ended up playing the younger. I was in it for like 2 seconds. I honestly forget that I was in this one, and people are talking to me about it, all the time, and I'm kind of going, oh right, I was the cop. So I was the younger version of one of the Claire. I think that's her real life name. But so the cop who's, the adult version of the gal who gets pregnant, her daughter obviously goes back and, is in this town and is trying to, become an honest, gal who cares about more things than I think it was fashion. Anyway, and so one of the people that she meets along the way, who was both there on the day that she was born and now as an adult, is this making sense? Yes. As a grown-up cop. I was the younger version of the grown-up cop. Yes. So I was I think I was in like the first scene. So, and I think that was basically it. Like initially auditioned for the girl who was,
most of the time I'm like, it's just, I don't even remember the characters' names. I just remember, it's Taylor Cole.
I would be the same. If you watch a lot of Hallmark,
I guess I remember her name was Evie just because she was born on Christmas Eve.
Yes, cute. Yes. So I initially auditioned for Evie. And then they went a different way, obviously, but they kind of reached out and were like, hey, you kind of look like the young version of this. Would you be able to come in and do one day? It was a night shoot. And I just said, yeah, it worked out well. So yeah, it was just a little moment.
So Confessions of a Christmas Letter, this movie was bonkers. Like, like the thing about Hallmark movies is not that many of them are bonkers. Like not only they usually don't lean into the com that much of the rom-com.
No, they don't. I mean, we had Angela Kinsey. I mean, I think they were really like, oh, let's make a moment of this. And yeah,
it was so like fun. She's literally trying to kill these people with Christmas. Like they're beaten down by the end. Like,
oh, bless. She's so. Oh, that was. I have to say, like, that was my kind of movie to work on. It was so much fun. Like, I don't think I've ever experienced. Like, it was like I just remember my brain was smushed. My body was so tired, and I was so happy. Like, I was so lit up. It was like yeah, my heart was just so excited. You know, Alex Santos, who plays Juan in the film, we would carpool every morning and we'd wear our little eye patches and we'd get to work and we just got to play. Obviously, he was the straight man, but for me, I just got to be a part of this, like, you're right, bonkers family. Like, they're just like such goofballs and they all like just really, they're such characters. And then to be around, I mean, Angela is a dream. Like, I want to be her when I grow up. She's everything. She's amazing to work with. And then her as a human being, I just find her.
So what was it like being in that onesie for all the scenes?
Okay, because I know people have been asking about the onesie. I loved it. I run cold, so I like a nice little cozy moment. Like, anytime I don't have to be in like skirt and heels, I'm like, thank goodness, you know? So being in a onesie, I thought it was great, you know? And it kept things simple. You didn't have to worry about hiding the mic pack. You can sit however you want and not really worry about posture because you're just in a bundle of fluff, basically. So I loved it, but I do know other people who are like, you know, they didn't want to see the onesie by the end of it.
Well, and I just loved his character where he's like, he's like probably having a panic attack over the onesie.
Oh my gosh, he had some great lines being the straight man. He had some, because he just, like, it's basically he comes in to just like a whirlwind. And he has that great line where I'm like, oh, what are your thoughts so far? And he's like, not great.
I'm like, how did he end up fake dating this woman? Like, it's so
I know.
ridiculous.
I know. It's a complete whirlwind. Poor thing just gets swept up. And then by the end of it. But I mean, there was one day there's a scene where we're eating s'mores on the back porch, which, first of all, by the way, those were the best s'mores I've ever had in my life. I don't know what it was for those graham crackers and those marshmallows. They were so vanilla-y. They were so good. Anyway, we were filming, you know, the scene, and, you know, the dialogue in the scene was how wonderful this kind of Christmas experience has been. And Alec, who plays Juan, and I were sitting next to each other, and we just kind of looked at one another and we just said, I want to be Lily and Juan. Like, this is so, because Lily was obviously my real name, but it's my character's name.
Yeah.
Like, it was just such a fun family to get to be a part of. And I don't know, they just had so much life and so much love, like, just up the wazoo. Even Sue, who was, you know, a bit cranky,
she was great.
She was like,
she was hilarious.
Yeah, she was like she's such a character. Like, it was just like, I don't know what it is about that, like, just like that neighborhood, that strip of houses. It was like all the people that moved in were just, you know, really had personality.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It was really funny. I mean, just the whole concept that there would be this like wall of fame for great Christmas letters was really funny.
I know that you would make that a competition, which is we all know those people, right? Where they take something that's not a competition and then they make it like, you know, pie baking. I feel like that's always a thing around holidays. Yeah. They show up with their dessert and they're looking at what everyone else has for dessert, and it's so funny.
This whole town made it a competition.
I know, you're right. Yes, you're right. You're right. So it wasn't even just
wall of fame.
You're right. It was just, oh my gosh.
That was so really funny.
It was so funny, and it was so great to be a part of. I loved it.
We'd like to take a second and thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast. It's the Hallmarkies merch store.
Are you looking for that perfect gift for the postable, hearty, or Hallmarky in your life?
What about getting that t-shirt or hoodie that will help you stand out at your next holiday party?
Now is the time to check out the Hallmarkies merch store.
Full of festive designs by artists like Jessica Miller, Carrie from Hallmark Comics, and more.
You can even have more than just shirts, but totes, cell phone cases, notebooks, mugs, and more.
And it isn't just Hallmark. We have designs for Anna Green Gables, Man from Snowy River, The Nanny, and more.
Every purchase at the merch store goes to help support the podcast and allows us to make the great content you know and love.
There are frequent sales, so go to tpublic.com/stores/Hallmarkies or see the link in the description.
That's tpublic.com/stores/Hallmarkies.
Well, we like to end our interviews with some fun get to know you questions. So first one is, what is your favorite holiday drink?
Ooh, I like a peppermint hot chocolate with a little coconut whip. I also appreciate a hot toddy. Have you ever had a hot toddy?
Is that like, it's like orange juicy?
It's
I never had.
It's lemony. Okay, so it has, oh gosh, now I'm going to totally butcher this, but I believe it has honey whiskey, lemon, hot water, and a cinnamon stick. It's basically like a tea.
Oh.
But it feels like if you're ever like kind of feeling run down over the holidays, but you kind of want to celebrate, that's like a great way to go hot toddy.
I've heard of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. What's your favorite holiday cookie or treat?
Holiday cookie would be my Nana's gingerbread cookies. Or no, I shouldn't say gingerbread cookies. They're ginger cookies. They're like these small little round things. And I don't know how she makes the icing sugar on top just so smooth. And they're so soft. I've been having them every year since I was little. So my Nana's ginger cookies for sure.
Nice. What's your favorite Christmas song or carol?
Oh gosh. I mean, there are so many. Okay. First one that comes to the top of my mind would be, but this is interesting. So, I mean, it just depends. Sorry, I'm going to make this more complicated than it is. But my dad has a story where he wasn't living at home with his parents. Obviously, he'd moved away, and he wrote my mom, his mom, my grandma, a birthday card with a whole bunch of notes in it. And my grandma played the piano, and she sat at the piano and played a few notes, and it was da 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 da. And she realized I'll be home for Christmas, and she realized that he was playing for Christmas, and she burst into tears. And so that I always think of that song when people say, what's your, but then of course, Mariah Carey, respect the heck out of that. Yeah, it's hard to do. Ariana Grande has some great ones.
All right. What's your favorite classic Christmas movie?
Classic? Oh, The Grinch, the original cartoon, or Charlie Brown Christmas.
Oh, good choice.
Yeah.
Good choice.
What's yours? Wait, am I allowed to?
It's hard. It's very, very difficult. Charlie Brown would be very high up for me.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, that would be very, very high. It's Wonderful Life, I think, is one of the finest films just ever made, period.
That would be my real life one.
But I also have huge nostalgia, and I love Home Alone.
Oh, yes.
So there's that. It's tough.
Oh, yeah. I haven't seen Home Alone in a minute. Oh, thank you for that reminder.
It's a lot better than people remember, because it really, the booby traps are only about 15 minutes of the movie. Most of it is him just being scrappy and figuring things out and being figuring things out.
It's funny you say that, because I do remember the booby traps being, for some reason, a huge part of the film.
Yeah, it's not as much as people think. It's really not. Yeah, but I love it. I love it. It's the first comedy that I ever really loved. I saw it when I was 9 with my grandparents. I was in California I was just about to turn 10. And so we got to do a 10-year trip. The grandkids did. And I was on my 10-year trip, and my grandparents took me to see Home Alone, and I just died laughing. I thought it was the funniest thing I'd ever seen in my life.
I mean, and like, obviously when you're a kid, there's a tiny part of you, you're like, this is amazing. Like, it's almost inspirational. You're like, everybody leave me at home. I'll be fine. Yeah.
I mean, for my best life. I was a super independent kid, so I would have loved. In theory, I would have loved it.
Love to get left alone. Yes, give me the whole. And it was such a gorgeous house too. Like, just, oh man, oh yeah. I mean, he was living the dream. I mean, well, ish. Yeah. I mean, I do think that a lot more kids could do better than we think that they could do. I wonder,
that if you gave them parameters or whatever, that they could probably actually do a pretty good job. But we think they're so helpless, but they're really not.
You know what's so cute? I don't know if you know, sorry, we're kind of going on a minor tangent.
That's okay.
Have you ever seen Bob's Burgers?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so there's a recent episode in one of the recent seasons, because I think they have like a bajillion seasons now, but Gene gets left alone. And he is like in full panic and doesn't know what to do with himself. And he gets locked in the basement, and he's like, oh, I'm going to die. And then he ends up kind of going on this little journey where he basically meditates, which I just was like, this is so wise. Like I hope it.
Well, no, there's this whole movement called free range kids, where people
Wait, tell me.
Yeah, where people want like their kids to like go out and have independent experiences and be like the kids used to just like go out on their bike and like just go, and I'll be back for dinner
before sundown.
And they would just go do stuff. I mean, and the thing that's crazy is that like we feel like things aren't as safe now as they were, but in reality, actually, childhood safety has improved. Things that have gotten better. It's just now we hear about every kidnapping. We hear about every, whatever. And I don't know. It's just, our kids are pretty strong, but it's hard to, I'm sure, like I speak as a single person, it's got to be hard to like want to take that risk,
Yeah,
so I get it, but anyway,
Yeah.
it's an interesting thing, and but it was definitely something that was very appealing about that Home Alone.
Oh yes,
as a kid.
You're right, and you're right. When we were watching it, it would have been in a time where we didn't have phones and things like that. Like I also wonder, give parents an option to be, more hands-on. They're gonna take it because their kids are the most precious little things, right? So they're gonna be, well, where are you? When are you gonna be home? Tracking their Ubers, like all these things.
Yeah.
The ways to keep an eye on your kid, which I'll probably take full advantage of all those, one day if I have kids. So, but yeah, you're right. Like back in the day, a kid would just be like, "Goodbye," and then just run out the door, and you'd be like, "Yeah."
And it's healthy. It's good for kids. It's like literally good for it's good for kids to have wilderness experiences. Like it's one thing to play in a park where everything is structured and everything's set up and everything like that. That's good. But it's also good for kids to just be like in wilderness where they have to figure everything out. They have to figure out the play.
Okay, so tell me what you think about this, because I have a friend who, it's like a friend of a friend, sorry, but her family friends take their kid when they turn 8, and they'll drive. They have 2 boys, and they'll drive them to like a forest with a backpack and can opener, a couple cans of tuna, flashlight, and they'll leave them for a few days, and just like.
Yeah, I mean, I said, it's this whole movement. I bet you they're free range kid people.
I'm gonna look into this.
You should.
It's like free range eggs. It's like the hens are allowed to roam around.
Yeah.
That's so funny. Okay, yeah.
That is interesting. Well, so the next question is, which do you like better, Scrooge or the Grinch?
Oh, the Grinch. Just because of his little smile.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, the Grinch.
Yeah. And such a great song.
So, I mean, everything about that movie. There's so many things about that movie that are iconic. There's a reason it's been made so many times.
I wouldn't touch you with a 39.5-foot pole.
Oh my gosh. And the dog, and then, like the sleigh that doesn't make any sense, how those presents, everything about it. I just love it.
Which do you like better, clear lights or colored?
Colored for a tree and clear for a windowsill.
Okay, good. Mm-hmm. Would you rather be in a snowball fight or build a snowman?
I guess it depends who I'm hanging out with. Just kidding. Probably build a snowman, because snowball fights I've never been. It's not my strong suit.
Okay.
I just get wet. Yeah.
All right. Would you consider yourself a good gift wrapper or not?
I'm a pretty good gift wrapper. When I go home, like I'm the person who everyone kind of brings their gifts to, and I'm told to wrap for everybody else. So yeah, I'm a good gift wrapper.
That's good.
Yeah.
All right. Last question. Do you have an ugly Christmas sweater?
Oh, that's a good one. I don't. I have an ugly adjacent one, but it's really like so I have a twin sister who, she's great. She gets into the holidays and the festivities and traditions. And so she has a few ugly sweaters. And when I go home, there's a few that are in the closet that I steal. And the one that I typically steal, because it's the one left over, it has Drake on it. And there's some kind of funny Christmas pun. It's something about the hotline. Like he has a phone and the Santa, but I don't remember what the pun is, but it's something. And so it's like ugly adjacent in the sense that I wouldn't wear it any other time of the year. And it's not a great sweater, but it's not, I don't think they meant for it to be ugly. I think they were going for it to be cool. There are some sweaters that well,
see, those are the actual legit ugly Christmas sweaters, like not manufactured to be ugly Christmas sweaters, but they're just like authentic.
It's just authentic. Yeah. You're giving that a lot of credit. Thank you. Yes. It's authentically ugly versus trying to be ugly.
Yeah, absolutely.
So symbolic. That's amazing.
Well, very good. You did it. You answered all the questions.
Oh my gosh. Oh, thank you so much for having me. It was so great to be a part of this podcast. I'm such a fan. It was
very, very fun to get to meet you.
I think you have like 1,000 episodes or something. Like you guys are the OG.
We do have a lot of episodes. This is our 8th season, 8th Christmas season.
Oh my gosh.
So
I mean, good for you, and thank you for having me. It's really like such a privilege to be part of something so wonderful and so long standing. Like I just think that's so fabulous. Way to go.
Well, we love having you, and we'll definitely try to have you back. And good luck with your future projects. And
Thank you
if
so
people like want to follow you on socials or anything like that, do you have anything?
It's just my full name, so it takes a little while to type it all out because it's long. Lillian Doucet-Roche at on Instagram, and then I'm not doing Twitter. I'm not doing any of the other ones, so it's really just Instagram.
All right. Well, we'll put that in the description. People can follow you, and I hope you have a very Merry Christmas.
Thank you. You too. Happy holidays.
I'd like to thank Lillian for coming on the podcast. This was so much fun. She was such a sweetheart. I really enjoyed talking with her. I hope you all enjoyed it too. Let us know what you think about all the different things that we talked about in the comments section or on Twitter. And you can find me at Rachel's Reviews all over social media, iTunes, YouTube, and on Rotten Tomatoes. Check that out. Also, make sure that you're following the podcast, Hallmarkies Pod, Hallmarkies Podcast, all of our social media. If you're listening on iTunes, please leave your ratings and reviews. It helps us so much, especially during this time of the year. It helps people to find us. And if you are watching on YouTube, please give the video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. I appreciate that so much. Also have the Patreon group, which is the biggest way you can support what we're doing. And you get really cool benefits like Patreon monthly activities with talent. This month we have Julie Sherman-Wolf. She's a writer of many, many Hallmark films, including the Chiefs movie this month. So please take a look at the Patreon. You get really, really, really good bang for your buck. And check out the merch store. We have tons of fun designs. We've got Die Hard. We've got Home Alone. We've got It's a Wonderful Life. All inspired designs, plus lots of things for the hearty, Hallmarky, and postable in your life. Check that out. And thanks so much again to Lillian. We'll talk to you later. Bye. Merry Christmas.